Hello and welcome to Doing Does DVD, and this is Disney Classics number 46, The Wild. This is the weird Disney classic which wasn't actually made by Disney and is only considered a Disney classic in certain regions of the world. It was distributed by Buena Vista, which is of course a subsidiary of Disney, but it was made by a company in Canada called Core Digital, and for whatever strange legal reasons it was released in the US just, as an independent film distributed by Buena Vista. But for some reason in Europe they gave it the full Walt Disney Pictures title, which I guess was probably mostly for the fact of name recognition and try and get people into theatres for this to actually make some money, because it seemingly didn't do all that well. The studio that made this, Core Digital, is not one that you would ever particularly think of. It's not super famous in any way for making lots of films. In fact, this is the only full-length feature they made for themselves in their entire history. They shut down in 2010. Their primary focus seemed to be doing the visual effects on other films, including some pretty big ones like, for example, X-Men. I guess they thought they would try their hand at a full animated picture, and it apparently didn't go so great. But this is all stuff I only learned in the past few weeks when researching where the Disney Classic numbers came from and the discrepancies between the UK and US versions. Prior to this project, this is another one of those which I know very little about and hadn't even heard of before. So I couldn't tell you anything about the story or what it's actually about. Some animals go on an adventure, I guess. The poster puts them in sort of a cityscape, so I'm guessing maybe there's a zoo involved, because there's quite a wide variety of animals by the looks of it. A lion, a giraffe, a crocodile, a koala. It's a bit of an odd mix. So yeah, who knows? Expectations not super great on this one. Let's find out what this one's all about. Well, as is often the case when you go in with low expectations, I didn't think that was all that bad, actually. Now, it's also definitely no masterpiece either, but it kept me reasonably entertained for its 1 hour 20 minutes. But afterwards I went online and looked at some reviews of it and realised it's actually quite hated. However, a lot of that hate seemed to be coming from people who were comparing it with the film Madagascar, which is another film I haven't actually seen, so I can't make that comparison. Although it does seem like that maybe I would like that if everyone thinks it's better than this one, which I thought was okay. You can definitely feel the made in Canada aspects of it sometimes, even though it's set in a New York zoo. There's a whole scene where the animals have curling matches, and while the story is nothing particularly special and there are some slightly odd leaps in it at times, it does the job enough, and it's raised up a level by having quite good voice acting. At least that's what I thought, but that's another thing where a lot of the reviews I read didn't seem to agree with. But I actually think the nicest thing about this was actually the quality of the animation. And that's probably to be expected from a studio that's actually more about doing visual effects works on other films rather than an entire film on their own. But there's some really nice stuff here, particularly when it comes to rendering fur. And that is, of course, pretty important when it comes to animated animals. Now, we're definitely not talking 100% photorealistic here. We are still only talking 2006 level technology. But within the style of the film they're going with, it fits well and is consistent and, looks good and moves well and is lit well. It's blatantly obvious it was done on a computer, but it still looks good. And so that's about all there is to say about this one. Some nice acting, some quite nice animation, but not much more to it than that. And in my opinion, nowhere near as terrible as some of the reviews seem to make it out as. What are your thoughts on The Wild? Tell me about those in the comments down below. Thank you very much for watching, and I will see you again next week with Meet the Robinsons.